And tonight we're going to look at something that most people never really consider, yet it is crucial. It is so crucial as we move now into this age of Aquarius, as we move into a world that is resonating at a higher frequency and a higher octave than ever before. And so our ego is something I want to dive into a little bit this evening, but more so I want you to understand what are those qualities and characteristics that can keep you from really fulfilling the dreams and the desires and the future that you want to create. And so I want to go over several secrets, but I need to lay a foundation for some of you that are new and don't know my work, the Soul-utions for moving beyond struggle. And it's so important, Soul-utions, S-O-U-L, Soul-utions for moving beyond struggle. And you may or may not have caught that in the title, but it's a critical little point of just flipping those two letters around so that you can understand what is the soul and what is the ego. Because you see, all of us, every one of us has a destination, which is your future. And either who's going to drive you into that future is either going to be the ego, which is the default mechanism that you have to have as long as you're human and physical, you need an ego, or your soul and spirit, which is where the fulfillment of your true destiny, your big story, the grand picture of who you really are can be found. And most of us don't understand the difference, don't really understand what is the soul. And tonight I want to explore with you and give you a solid foundation to understand that your soul has always been present with you, regardless of your religious background. And in many ways, religion has claimed the soul and the spirit. But if you were to ask a religious person, what is the difference between soul and spirit? They're kind of like, well, it's kind of like they're the same similar thing. They don't have a very clear definition. And I was fortunate enough very early on to begin meditating. I started meditating in high school, and that was back in 1982. Yes, I'm old. And I started meditating back in high school, and that's when I started to hear this whisper, this inner voice that helped to navigate through my entire life. And I can tell you some really powerful, powerful stories about it. But more importantly, I want to give you this foundation, and then I'm going to share some stories and then open up if you have any questions. So welcome from Toronto, somebody's here. Welcome Mohammed and Janine and Hannah and Millie and Alexis. Thank you for joining me this evening. So solutions for moving beyond struggle, and I want you to understand how this works, okay? So just kind of sit back for a minute and open up your perception of what and how the divine, the soul and the spirit, which each and every one of you contain and have, went into a journey of physical manifestation, and how you can find the secrets and the clues to becoming whole, to finding wholeness within yourself, to find that balance and harmony, that inner peace and that inner strength that so many of us have turned our back on. And in turning our back, we try to make up with substitutes. And you know, let's face it, we live in a world that is addicted to caffeine. It's addicted to all kinds of outside validation and outside energy to try to feel a sense of strength, of peace, of power, to move forward, to get through the day. And so today I'm going to teach you something and teach you how to align with your soul and spirit so that you have an understanding that hopefully makes complete sense to you, because everyone I've taught, and this is my own teaching, but everyone I've taught, it has helped them to move beyond struggle. Just by understanding this, without having to do anything, but just opening up to the awareness that within you is the soul and spirit. Within you is this power and strength that most of us have turned our back on. And to understand how the nature of the divine and the nature of wholeness comes about, it begins by realizing that outside of time and space, outside of time and space is the pure essence of the divine. It's the oneness, it's nirvana, it's the all that is. It comes by so many different labels, the universal mind. But that's outside of time and space. So you imagine this ball, this sphere, outside of time and space. And it divides into time and space, into a world of what? Duality, right? So the one has to become two. So the oneness of all that is divides into the goddess energy and the God force. So the true trinity of the divine is the oneness, the Holy Spirit, whatever you want to call it, that then divides into Mother Mary and Jesus, if you're of a religious background, Christian basic, or to understand that this oneness divides into the goddess and into God. Now that's inside of time and space. The one becomes two, goddess and God. And now here's where the soul and spirit comes in. Because from the goddess energy, from this beautiful force, this resonant presence of the goddess energy, steps down to create the individual soul within all consciousness. The soul of every human being comes from the goddess energy. And from the God force comes and fills the space of soul, fills and connects and seeks and searches for the soul, is your spirit. Your spirit is connected to God. Your soul is connected to the goddess. Now that sounds great, Michaiel. I think that's kind of cool. That's a little different. It's a different type of trinity than a chauvinistic masculine religion that says, well, if God's powerful, it's got to be masculine. So it's God the Father and God the Son. And eliminates the feminine energy. It keeps the Holy Spirit a little ambiguous, but still, it eliminates the feminine energy. And that's the problem in our whole world today, is that we are in this chauvinistic masculine paradigm that is now crumbling. And so Soul-utions is a way for people to re-engage their spirituality. That is not something I need to go out and seek and search and find somebody else to tell me what to do and give me rules of how to live my life, but that I can access from within myself the power of my own soul and spirit. And how do you do that? So here we got this trinity. The oneness becomes two, God, goddess. And then from the goddess steps down the soul and then the spirit. Now, how do you connect with your soul and spirit? Now, some of you are going to love this, and others of you might just bristle a little bit because of the conditioning, because of what we've been taught and told and conditioned to believe throughout our lives. But here's how it works. It is our feminine energy that's called the anima that connects us to our soul. And it's the animus, the masculine energy, that connects us to spirit. And every human being, regardless of gender, regardless of background, culture, race, every consciousness within the physical world is one or the other physically. It's called an illusion for a reason, right? It appears because I have this masculine body, this masculine shell, that I'm only male and I have no female, and I've got to go out there searching and seeking to find my other half, right? Something separate from me. Likewise, it's the same myth that we are separate. And tonight, you're going to open the possibility that in the concepts you've read for many years, perhaps, on finding peace and what is wholeness and how do I awaken an inner power and strength, tonight you'll be receiving those answers. So just sit back, relax, and let yourself open up. And then I'm going to give you techniques to do later on. But for now, just think about this. Every